Spoiler alert, in Season 2, Episode 7, The Red Sowing, House of the Dragon reveals a different side of Rhaenyra as she uses religion to defend her quest for new dragonriders. Rhaenyra has never been especially religious, despite the fact that Westeros is home to numerous religions. But as luck would have it, she starts to mention the gods more frequently. She finds a dragonrider in Addam of Hull through an unexpected circumstance, which revitalizes her goal. Given that dragons are revered as gods in Westeros, the dragon Seasmoke's decision to choose Addam can be seen as a heavenly act. Rhaenyra adopts that as her model, accepting the theological overtones and even employing them in her own work. Rhaenyra's fervent religious beliefs offer a new dimension to the narrative, even though it is unclear if she truly believes them or if they are just a ploy to achieve her goals. Targaryen exceptionalism had to be shown in some form in any show about the Targaryen dynasty. But House of the Dragon's first season presented it as a strategy that the majority of the family, including Rhaenyra, knew to be untrue. However, Rhaenyra utilizes this theology to support her conduct while using religion to further her agenda. After losing her unborn child, her father, her reign, and her son, Rhaenyra was implied to be bitter and vindictive at the conclusion of Season 1. However, the second season has changed her tone, making her more fervent than suspicious, despite being a divergence from fire and blood. It functions admirably, giving Rhaenyra's story a new hue and drawing parallels between her and the far more devout Alicent.
You might never return.
Welcome to Movie Spy. House of the Dragon alludes to Rhaenyra. Becoming the head of a cult blood is a common theme in the book, but when Rhaenyra imprisons the dragon seed in the dragon mount, there is something especially sinister about the dragon deaths. She stands above and observes as Vermithor devours, chases, and burns the potential dragon riders that Rhaenyra threw in there, fully aware of what would happen. She was horrified by the bloodshed when Anthony Flanagan's character, Stefan Darklyn, failed to claim a dragon. Nevertheless, she observes carefully, dejected but resolute in her goal, while numerous others meet horrific ends. Ryan Condell refers to her as a cult leader in the behind-the-episode featurette, even going so far as to term the Red Sowing a ritual sacrifice, which is evident in Rhaenyra's shameless response. Addam, who immediately bows to the queen and asks, "If the gods call me to greater things, who am I to refuse them?" is the one who mentions gods for the first time in the story, not Rhaenyra. After meeting Addam, Rhaenyra adopts a dogmatic posture, asserting that Addam's relationship with Seasmoke was ordained in spite of the opposition she encounters, especially from Jace. Rhaenyra has never been religious, even if she is willing to welcome the gods' assistance in advancing her cause. When Alicent brings her to the Sept in Season 1 to process her mother's death, she does not seem to know how to pray. Alicent has been shown as a devoted follower of the faith who frequently visits the Sept for prayer. This further comparison highlights the significant differences between the two ex-friends. Rhaenyra views religion as justice, while Alicent appears to use it as solace. Whether Rhaenyra realizes it or not, she uses religion to further her own agenda, and it works. Following a sermon-like address in which she tells the dragon seed that confronting a dragon will transform them, they follow her into a perilous position where they perish at the dragon's pleasure. By the time the episode closes, Rhaenyra has acquired new dragon riders who could perhaps help her defeat her adversaries. Even though some might refer to it as luck, Rhaenyra has enough evidence to persuade the Westerosians of the gods' favor. Rhaenyra's religion embraces Targaryen exceptionalism. However, it is crucial to understand that Rhaenyra's recently discovered faith does conform to the customs of the faith of the Seven. Westeros recognize religion. Rather, she exalts herself as the Dragon Queen and the dragons themselves. Because of their relationship with the dragons, Targaryens are seen to be more godly than humans, a notion that Rhaenyra once admitted to being untrue. Her actions in Season 2, Episode 7, however, cast doubt on that idea. Maybe she is playing a charade to gain the allegiance of whoever the dragons decide upon, seducing the dragon seed with the dragon's legendary status. There is not much information on what creates a dragon lord, and Rhaenyra appears to use divine intervention as a pretext to let non-royals try their hand at it. After all, she almost forgets to end her speech to the dragon seed with, "May the gods bless you." However, it appears that Rhaenyra is starting to accept Targaryen exceptionalism, as seen by her happiness at discovering some support for her cause. King Jaehaerys first established the Targaryen exceptionalism concept, which essentially permits the Targaryen family to support the faith of the Seven even though they do not adhere to it. Jaehaerys' goal was to persuade Westeros to condone the incestuous marriages of the Targaryen. Hence, this theological doctrine was really more of a premeditated political action. The capacity to ride dragons, which Rhaenyra has now extended to lowborns, was mentioned as the Targaryen people's distinctive characteristic. Rhaenyra holds fast to Targaryen exceptionalism more than ever, projecting it onto those who are willing to follow her, even though their blood is still Targaryen, or at least Valyrian, which calls into question the idea that Targaryens are unique. Fire and blood is not the source of Rhaenyra's religious lust. She finds the religious zealot perspective to be a dark story, but it makes sense. This diverges from the original work. The main plot of Fire and Blood is that Rhaenyra experiences tremendous paranoia as a result of losses and betrayals, even if some readers may already know the outcome, especially because Game of Thrones disclosed it years ago. However, House of the Dragon gains greater authority as a result of her decision to rewrite her dose of Targaryen madness and become a cult leader. She is torn apart by arrogance rather than an overwhelming fear. It is eerie and dark, yet appropriate for Westeros. This is a means to an end for her believing that she is the legitimate ruler in a manner that goes against their long-standing customs. Cults are not new to the franchise. The Lord of Light, the Brotherhood Without Banners, and the Faith Militant in Game of Thrones all contain aspects of a religious cult that give the show some of its darkest tales, demonstrating that this approach can be both effective and unsettling. It makes sense, especially as Rhaenyra courted the favor of the folk, such as the High Sparrow and his Faith Militant zealots. Most importantly, though, is that it creates a new dynamic for the Blacks. The religious extremist viewpoint might be more difficult to defend, even though the series has until this point been more critical of Rhaenyra's opponents.